Deschooling. What the heck is that? The homeschoolmom.com says, deschooling is the adjustment period a child goes through when leaving school and beginning homeschooling. To really get the benefits of homeschooling, a child has to decompress and disconnect from school being the default and school ways being the standard expectation. The author goes even further to say, the longer a child has been in school, the more important it is to allow generous time to process the huge change from not being in school to learning as a homeschooler. Deschooling is a time allowance we give ourselves and our children, which offers the chance to break away from traditional schooling constructs in our minds. Sound like gobbledygook? Basically, what it means is that when we have had years of formal schooling, we tend to view education in particular ways. When we choose homeschooling as our new default setting, it can take some time to work through that idea in your mind of what school should look like. Some say the deschooling process can take approximately 1 month per year of formal schooling. So if your child has only experienced kindergarten, they may need about a month to expel those ideas of how school feels. If your entire schooling experience started in kindergarten and ran through 4 years of college, that's almost a year and a half of expected deschooling. Now, it doesn't always take this long. These are estimates, and not everyone even needs to go through the process at the beginning of the school year. My own deschooling process began during the last year my children were in public school. Months in advance of notifying that we would be homeschooling, I began researching the ideas surrounding unschooling, our preferred home education method, which I'll be talking about in a different video. So, I had already been doing the work for quite some time. You may experience setbacks or opposition from your children, from your significant other, from your family, and even from your own mind about how education should be approached. You may feel that your children are being lazy or disobedient, or that they lack motivation. Your spouse may question what your children are actually learning all day long. Your children may often complain they are bored, then in the next breath say they don't want to do anything. Allow margin in your life for these expectations to be worked through in useful, constructive ways. As a family who used to spend most of your daytime hours apart, you may experience a vast array of feelings about suddenly spending all your time together as homeschoolers. Give each other some grace and forbearance as you learn to be a family in constant close proximity. Play games, go for walks, have discussions about both silly and important things. Realize that learning happens all the time, not just when sitting at a desk. Give a cheer for boredom. This means your children are cycling through all their current ideas and negating them. They are learning to self-regulate and use their imaginations. Encourage this. Boredom actually does a world of good for young minds. Necessity is the mother of invention. If it is necessary for their minds to be engaged, they will invent ways for them to be so. If you notice your children are having difficulty choosing how to spend their time, you can help in indirect ways. Pick up several books about butterflies or some other subject that your children talk about or seem interested in the next time you're at the library, and lay them across your coffee table. If your kids don't pick up the books on their own, pick one out yourself and start reading it aloud. Before long, you may have a couch full of attentive listeners. Lay out simple activities or experiments on counters and tables. Use everything you can think of to do those. As your children come across them, they can choose to interact with them or not. This idea of indirectly providing activities is called strewing. Take the time to intentionally realize how your family best functions. Not every family uses their day in the same ways. Some families school in afternoon or evening hours. Some families use a 3 or 4 day 3 or 4 day school week because they have other regularly scheduled events in their lives, such as co-op, a class they're taking outside the home, or frequent medical visits. It is important to be sure these events are scheduled into the routine and that you allow your family enough time for flexibility and/or recovery. It may feel as though you do nothing but attend to these outside appointments, but there is still room for learning along the way. As you get used to this approach to life, it will work its way into your curriculum choices as well. Use this time to read books about homeschooling methods and decide which ones are good fits for your family. Find a local support group and join it. Make new friends among other homeschoolers in your area. Learn to sit on your hands, so to speak, while your children ignore convention. Read books about parenting and children. Read Dr. Kathy Cook's book, 8 Great Smarts, and discover how your children naturally learn. All of these are useful for creating a lifestyle of learning at home. And above all, love each other well. Love creates bridges over differences, and in a family doing life together, we will always encounter differences. Treat them as points of wonder rather than annoyances, and you will have a great time learning together at home.